street interviews.
Take a guess.
Paimon has a funny feeling that we might be in for an interesting time if we go check it out. Shall we?
I see. So you believe that this warning letter was...
Absolutely. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Phantom Weasel never acts as you expect. He must have faked his own death 10 years ago using a body double. Now that he's back, I'm sure the guards who worked on his case back in the day are in for a headache, but... However...
Couldn't agree more. As a journalist, I'm gonna get... Thank you, sir, for your time. Now, whom should I interview next? Huh? Hey! What a coincidence! Fancy meeting you here. Perfect timing. So, the Phantom Weasel's latest warning letter. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is the first time we're hearing of this one. Could you clue us?
Huh? Oh, sorry. Yes, this case is from a decade ago. I guess you wouldn't know about it. Well, not to worry. You're in good hands because I'm a professional. 10 or so years ago, a phantom thief became active in the court of Fontaine. Known only as the Weasel. Nobody knew his true identity, and the authorities never managed...
Wow, cool! He sounds like one of those mysterious...
Precisely. Well, except the part where they actually have a good reputation. Our weasel targeted whatever people held dear. He would just as soon steal a necklace from a rich merchant's safe as he would a toy doll given to a commoner child for their birthday. I know. The phantom thieves you read about in novels rob the rich to pay the poor, but this guy did not discriminate.
Yeesh. So, did they catch him?
Not exactly. There's a good chance that the weasel would still be at large to this day if it hadn't been for an accident 10 years ago. A magician named Caesar fell to his death in a botched high-altitude escape performance. When the police went through his personal effects, they found a hoard of stolen loot and gadgets used for criminal activities. And that was how the... Sure enough, thefts in Fontaine went down after Caesar's death. But today, 10 years on, the notorious thief has once again issued one of his warning letters and pasted it on the gate of the Opera Epiclese for all to see. I had to squeeze through the crowd this morning to get a photo as soon as I heard. Here, it's this one.
So, this is the warning letter, huh? Let's see what he wrote. 3 days from now, when evening falls, I shall take from you that which you hold
This is, without a doubt, a clear declaration of criminal intent. What once seemed like an open and shut case has been blown wide open again. But why has he reemerged now? And what does he want?
Uh-oh. If this thief will steal anything that other people value, does that mean even we might be targeted? Really? Oh, let him...
Okay, the people have spoken. It's clear that the public are very concerned about the Phantom Weasel's Let's see, I've got a photo of the letter, my interview notes. Yep, that should be enough to form the skeleton of my article. It's something exclusive. Who should I interview next? I need someone with a more concrete connection to the Weasel. Is that who I think it is?
Lenny!
Magic, magician, Caesar! The Phantom Weasel! That's it! Let's go interview Lenny! You see, the original Phantom Thief Caesar was a magician too! And what do Phantom Thieves and magicians have in common?
Are you serious? What sort of a deduction is that?
Oh, relax! My journalistic instinct tells me that an exclusive news story is beckoning.
Wow, Mr. Magician! How did you know which card I picked?
Oh, it's simple. Come closer and I'll let you in on my secret. Magicians have a special skill called telepathy.
Really? Then, what am I thinking now?
Well, first you need to relax, because I can see that you're clenching your fist in your mind.
Aww.
And now you're getting a little flustered. You're trying to find a way to empty your mind, to think of nothing at all. But you snuck out from home today, didn't you? You told your family a little lie so you could come out and play.
You can tell?
Of course. Oh, and that's the end of my performance. You should really be heading home.
All right. Got it. Bye, Mr.
Hey?
Why, hello. We meet again. Are you looking for...
Well, why don't you guess, Mr.
Oh, please. You didn't believe that spiel, did you? The power of telepathy...
I'm sure that child would beg to differ. Seemed like you were right on the...
That was nothing more than a little trickery. I made an educated guess based... That, plus the fact that he was the only kid here without his parents, and he looked as guilty as sin. He made it easy for me. You guys, on the other hand... Let me guess.
Wow. Got it in one.
Wait, really? No trickery this time. His warning letter's been the talk of the town, so I figured that maybe you were asking around about that.
Bingo! I plan on writing a column reporting on the latest news about the Phantom... So, Linny, what are your thoughts on this infamous thief's reappearance?
To be honest...
Angry? Why?
You read his letter, right? The Phantom Weasel claims he's planning something in 3 nights' time at the Opera House. That's the night I'll be performing there.
Huh. What are the chances? Wait a minute, you don't think he's after you, do you?
Well, if he is, then his warning is clearly a direct challenge to me personally. And if he's not, then it's still going to be a huge headache for me. The mere mention of the Weasel's name is enough to scare people off. So once the contents of that letter get out, barely anyone will... But I've been preparing for this for a long time. I'm not about to let him ruin my big day. This leaves me with only one choice. I have to expose the Phantom Weasel...
Really? So what you're saying is, we might get to see a live duel between a famous...
To be honest, I'm not sure if I'll emerge the victor. The Phantom Weasel is a notorious crook, infamous for his...
You're being far too modest, Linny. I think your magic tricks are even more inscrutable than those of a thief.
Thanks for the compliment, though I have to say, I don't care much for... A lot of people liken magicians to thieves because we both have the ability to make things disappear without the person noticing. Allow me to demonstrate with a quick magic trick. Here, I have a flower, just an ordinary flower that was picked not long ago. Watch it carefully now. 3, 2, 1.
It's gone!
That's the question. Where did it go? Therein lies the difference between us. Thieves make precious things disappear, but only magicians make them reappear. If I could now invite you all to check your clothes, there might be a surprise.
A surprise? Let me see! It's right there! But how? You haven't moved this whole time!
What an outstanding trick! Sorry, Linny, it seems that my previous praise was woefully inadequate.
Don't worry, I didn't take offense. I just wanted to take the opportunity to perhaps change some of the preconceived... Since Caesar's death, a lot of people associate magicians with criminality.
I can imagine. Coming back to your trick just now, might I presume that you are well versed in For example, magicians often use rainbow roses in their flower-related performances to represent passion and romantic encounters. But you used a Lumidu spell, which, if I'm not mistaken, allude to separations. I'm curious to know if there was any deeper meaning.
Impressive knowledge. It's no wonder you're such a successful journalist. But it sounds like something I should look into, though. I'll buy myself a copy of Fontaine.
Well noted. In that case, this brings us to the end of our interview. I, for one, please feel free to get in touch to update me on any further developments. Otherwise, I will of course see you at your... If there's nothing else, I'll be off. You've given me lots to work with here, and I've got no time to lose if I want to write that exclusive piece.
So, Linny, you did that flower trick now?
I'm afraid.
Aww. Well, magicians are entitled to their secret. You feel it too, right? So itchy!
Not so itchy then, huh? Well, since you're so concerned, how would you like to...
Magician's assistants? Oh, that sounds fun! Assistants are technically magicians too! Also, it'll bring us one step closer to figuring out how that darn trick is done! Shall we go for it?
Excellent. Thank you for putting your The first thing we need to look into is who Caesar really was. If he truly was the Phantom Weasel, But if he wasn't the Weasel? Well, that'll make... And if we're investigating Caesar, his fiancée Gemma is a good place to start. Word is that she visits the cemetery often, so I asked we should make a move. Let's go and rendezvous with Lynette.
It's been a while since we last saw Nervalette. Paimon wonders what he's been up to. Paimon has so many questions about his true identity. Let's go talk to him and find out.
You took your time.
Sorry, I bumped into the Traveler and Charlotte en route, and we ended up chatting for...
It's been a while, Lynette. We're working as Lenny's temporary assistants in the investigation of the Phantom...
Thank you. It's good to have you help.
So, what's the situation? Have you seen
Nope. I've been here a while, and she still hasn't shown...
How bizarre. Maybe it was bad intel. Well, we won't get anywhere by standing around waiting. Traveler, pipe... Excuse me, good sir. Do you by any chance know...
Gemma? You mean Caesar's fiancée? Sure I do. What's this about?
I'm just trying to get a hold of her because I need her help with something.
Yeah, she does. Poor thing. Ever since Caesar passed away, she's been coming here once every week to clean his grave. I asked her what she was doing once. She said she wanted to speak to him again. She knows he's gone and can't hear her from the grave, but she just likes to spend time there, telling her fiancé all about our life.
And she's been doing this ever since Caesar passed away?
I'll bet. Caesar's reputation fell apart after his identity was revealed, so no one else visits his grave. I don't know if the mind lives on in the waters after death, but if it does, if I'm honest, I think this is all so unfair to poor Gemma. Her fiancé was a low-life crook. Anyway, all of that said, she's running later than usual today. Normally, she'd be sitting in front of his... Well, that's everything I know, I'm afraid. You might have more luck asking some other people.
All right, well, thanks for sharing all of this with us. We'll keep asking around.
You're welcome. I just hope she'll be able to move on one day.
Did you hear the news? They're saying the Phantom Weasel's back.
You're kidding. Wait, isn't he dead?
I don't know anymore. All sorts of news flying around nowadays. I can never tell what's true and what isn't. But what if, just hypothetically, I mean, what if this weasel's the real deal and Caesar was framed?
Called it. Seriously, 10 years ago, on the day it all went down, I said to myself, you know what? This guy's been set up. The Caesar I knew was a good guy. He gave balloons to children on the street, for Pete's sake. What, are we supposed to believe that he was a balloon thief or something? Give me a break.
Oh, please. Weren't you the one cursing his name to high heaven when the police announced the news? You were all, "Oh, that gosh darn lousy son of a, you think you know a guy," or words to that effect.
Wait, did I say that? I don't seem to recall.
Hello there. Sorry for disturbing you, but I couldn't help but notice you were discussing the Phantom Weasel. We're actually quite interested in this topic as well, but we're struggling to get to the bottom of it. Do you think you could spare a moment to tell us a little bit about Caesar?
You've come to the right people. Yep, I was there. Back when Caesar used to perform magic tricks on the street. He was a great magician. The best trick I ever saw him do was pop a transparent balloon, only for a whole bunch of doves to fly out from the inside. I was right up close and didn't blink or look away once. But for the life of me, I still don't have the faintest clue how he pulled it off. Really incredible stuff.
I saw him perform too. He always used to bring some gifts along for the kids who came to watch his show, and he'd hand them out after he was done. Sometimes he even got the kids to write their wishes down, and then he'd make the items on the wish list appear in his next show.
He doesn't sound like such a bad guy.
But after he died, there were also rumors that he used the wish list to find out what was precious to people. As I'm sure you know, the Phantom Weasel would steal just about anything from anyone.
Whatever the case, now that the weasel is back, Caesar's become a hot topic once more. I bet Gemma must be pleased. If Caesar's name gets cleared, maybe it'll finally give her some solace after all this time. Oh, speak of the devil. That's her over there. If you've got any more questions about Caesar, she's definitely the one to ask.
So that's Gemma. Is it just Paimon, or does it look like something's wrong? Wait, it looks like she's injured. Come on, let's see if she's okay. Hi there. You're Gemma, right?
Who's asking?
Don't be afraid, we mean no harm. It looks like you're injured. How bad is it?
Thanks for your concern, but you didn't answer my question. Who are you? And
My name is Linny, and this is my sister Lynette.
My name's Paimon, and this here's the Traveler. We're investigating the Phantom Weasel.
The Weasel posted a warning letter this morning. If he still lives, that means that Caesar was falsely accused. You knew Caesar better than anyone else. So if you're willing, we'd love to hear what you think about all this. I promise you can trust us. We won't hurt you. In fact, we'll do all we can to keep you safe.
I never believed that he was the Weasel.
I suspected as much. Okay, so going back 10 years, do you remember anything strange in the weeks leading up to the accident? Did Caesar have a falling out with anyone, for instance?
No, not that I know of.
Got it. All right, sorry for disturbing you.
If you don't have any more questions, please leave. I want to be alone with him.
Judging by the look on her face, there's definitely something fishy.
She's lying. She definitely knows something.
That's fair. We're just a bunch of strangers who In any case, I doubt we'll get any further here, so let's call it a day. Meet me outside Hotel de Boer tomorrow, and then we'll start the next step of our plan.
Osmanthus wine tastes the same as I remember. But where are those who
Over here.
Lynette's not joining us today?
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we can make any inroads with her. Still, I don't think that Gemma's likely. Today we'll be looking into a guy named Lorenzo. When Caesar passed away, all the stolen. Before long, Lorenzo was the next big magician in town. I had to pull a lot of strings, but I managed to get him to agree to a couple of tricks.
You neglected to mention that you were bringing 2 other people.
My apologies. These 2 are my assistants. When they heard that I...
Oh, forget the pleasantries. Just sit.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the pleasantries.
I only agreed to meet since we're both magicians. Do me a favor and cut to the chase.
Much obliged, sir. As it happens, the matter I want to address... Yesterday morning, a warning letter from the Phantom Weasel appeared on the entrance to the Opera House. I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned.
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the weasel and he's been dead for 10 years. So what if some sick creep thought it...
Please, sir, no need to get so worked up. I do concede that...
Possibility? It's a fact, Linny. Look, my patience is limited. The weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so do...
Oh, sir, I'm honored, really. But my pride as a magician is what's at stake here, Lorenzo. Copycat or not, this...
Your pride? Don't mince words with me, boy.
I want to find out the Phantom Weasel's true identity. I have to know...
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do with you, anyway?
Uh-oh. This is getting up.
Lorenzo? Is that? Oh, it is, yeah.
Another day, I'm busy.
Oh, come on. You can't be all business all the time.
If I wanted your life advice, I'd...
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've...
Oh, hey. Edmond, this is your first time meeting him? Oh, he's always like, and he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend, despite being... What?
Shut up and get out of my face. Another word out of you and you can forget about doing business with me ever again.
Sorry, I may have had a little too much to...
I think it's high time I made a move as well. If you really want to investigate this, Linny, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, that fell to pieces in a rather spectacular...
Totally. And what was all that about compensating? He's gotta be hiding something. And not like Gemma.
I think so, too. We need to look into... That guy Edmondo seems to know a thing or two about him. He only just left. Let's see if we can catch up with... You okay there?
Who are you? Oh, it's you guys. Don't worry about me. I said way too much back there, didn't I? Yeah, I nearly talked myself into complete...
So, he was serious about threatening to cut you off?
Hey! Don't go prying into Lorenzo's personal affairs.
What kind of bad things?
Don't even ask. And take it from me, trouble with Lorenzo is one thing you don't need in your life. That's not a good sign. You're too young for this.
And there he goes.
Shh. I think we're being watched. Someone was listening in to our... Don't say anything and don't look back. Any altercation in the city will attract... You followed us a long way. Why don't you come out and introduce yourselves?
So you're Linny. And where's your sister? Ain't she with... Save us the trouble and go fetch her for us.
Paimon doesn't like the tone of your voice, mister! Who sent you, huh?
Save your questions, missy. You ain't...
Looks like we can't avoid... Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope you're ready to...
Don't worry, we got this!
Step right up!
Gather! Silence!
Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Vision wielders are always trouble.
Come on, let's scram!
Hey, wise guys! We ain't through with you yet! Oh, they got away! Did you catch what they said just before? Sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic. And you're right. She was injured when we saw her yesterday, and she acted like she had something to hide. Maybe she was too scared to tell us the truth because those guys...
Well, if that's the case, she should be more willing. Let's head back to the cafe and see if we can get any information from...
The tea here just keeps getting more bitter. Gemma?
You again. What is it this time?
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you, and so you can relax now.
What? Why? I didn't tell you anything.
Sounds like they're no
That's putting it mildly. I know them all too well. It's been 10 long years. And still, every time I try to look into Caesar's death, they show. How do I know I can trust you? Do you really think you can get...
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but I can promise you this. Because you see, this is a personal matter of the utmost importance.
Okay. How can I...
I've heard that Caesar used to have a magic workshop where he kept a lot of his personal effects. If Pop... Do you know where it is?
The Fleuve Sonde. But the place was sealed up by the police after his death. I also know that the Fleuve Sonde is dangerous territory. Lots of hostile groups.
Understood. Lynette, you stay here and take care of Gemma.
Got it. But if I'm staying here...
I mean, bon appetit. But stay sharp, too.
Okay. All right. Power saving mode off. I'll...
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Huh. Looks like these boxes are blocking the... There we go. It should be just down here.
Caesar's workshop. Nothing suspicious here, just normal magic props. Let's head in further. What was that? Oh, is this one of Caesar's gadgets? Guess we must have triggered some sort of device.
And voila! Now disappear! A round of applause!
Whoa. Look, the doll in the box is glowing. There's something written on the card on this doll. Let's take a closer look.
them looks different from the rest. Let's investigate.
That's weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. I'm starting to... If so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe a hidden... Aha! If I just move...
A secret passageway!
I'm a magician too, and apparently looks pretty big inside. Let's...
Stabilize! Order guide you!
Now disappear!
Bombs away!
Step right up! Here comes the finale! And voila!
Why have you stopped, Lenny? Is there some...
It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you guys go on ahead. If anyone makes a major discovery, let's rendezvous here.
All right, see you in a bit! we can't step on the same tile twice. Guess we've got to finish it in one run, huh?
I see the value in my own work, but I also see the meaning in all the endeavors of the people of Fontaine. I believe I will continue to take pride in fulfilling my duties. Water comes in many flavors to the discerning palate. Mondstadt's water is crisp and pure, while water from Liyue has an enduring aftertaste. In Inazuma, the water possesses a depth of flavor unlike any other. Sumeru's water, meanwhile, has a rich and complex flavor profile, but it must be savored patiently to fully appreciate it.
take a peek inside it, shall we?
At one of my shows a few days ago, a child asked me how, as a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up. I wound up saving very little this month, but that's not a major issue. 2 children came to talk to me after today's show. I don't know why they were out on their own. Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. I told them that learning magic is very hard work. It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately. Surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those 2 children. I have a good feeling about those kids. They have all sorts of fantastic ideas. They wanted to call me Master, but I told with time. I have no doubt that they could be. Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like being around them. It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I once overheard them talking about their father and their mission. It's only been 10 days since I first met them. They're very tough, but also they hide things from me too. That's the thing about children. I can sense that their lives have been hard. After thinking things over, I decided. P.S. I hope they won't find my PPS. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Oh, Caesar, Caesar.
2 magic geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like he was writing about Linny and Lynette, don't So did they meet Caesar when they were kids?
Hold that thought. As I expected, there's a lot of fishy things going on in this place.
Fishy? Uh-oh.
All in good time. Before we go over our new leads, I want to tell you how first, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view of the... At this point, a dummy will fall out of the box, but it looks real. Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended in... Oh no! Is that me? Did I just fall?
Very vivid description.
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the time they realize what's happened, Of course, that's just how I think the process should work, theoretically. The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. When the box opened, he fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. And no one else has ever attempted this trick since. My understanding of how it...
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape has never been done, huh? Paimon was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person, but if it's that... Wait a second. So if a dummy's supposed to drop out of the box, then where does...
Glad you asked. That brings us to the secret of said box. This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance. Once the magician's inside, and the box is lifted up into the air, from where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides, and... At this point, the magician presses a button inside the box. He then escapes through this trapdoor onto the opera house roof, waits for the
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined. Even...
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. There's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Many days and nights of careful research and painstaking practice would have gone in. Caesar was a highly accomplished magician.
So, how did it go so wrong? You said you found some...
I can make a pretty good guess. I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the right-hand side.
Okay. Nothing suspicious there.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here. Which leads me to believe because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. People naturally focus their attention, but a magician needs to be able to redirect an audience's... The essence of magic is getting people to believe a lie. if even the truth raises. And so, Caesar trained himself to use his right hand to align with his audience's expectations. But in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one was watching, exactly, I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. He'd have had mere second, but I'm sure he was confident. He would have rehearsed countless times So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything was in order, and then, much like when you reach for your keys but find your pocket empty, his mind needed a moment to process what was going on. Instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing button. Maybe, with the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay.
When in reality, someone's... But how would they be able to make the switch without...
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was... Isn't that right?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs lie. There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. But I gave you your chance. I hoped you'd do what's good.
You mean Gemma? So you are the one who's been threatening her!
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, she was never much of a liability, which is why you can't leave this place alive.
Do your worst!
Step right up! A round of applause! And voila! Now disappear! Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't help you now. I think it's high time you started talking. And what I'd really like to know is...
If I had a mora for every time you said that man's name. He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made...
So it was jealousy.
Jealousy. Hatred, more like. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just... But the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. No, what amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all the skills. He forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their mora. And with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he was alive, if I dabbled in my own, I had to kill him. There was no other way. He had to go.
And this was your only motive?
It was reason enough. What other
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play. For...
In love with Gemma, don't be ridiculous.
Guess I was wrong about that then.
I am. Caesar was so strict with me. I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical value of magic. Sure enough, it helped me fill my pockets with all kinds of valuable treasures.
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the weasel would steal whatever people valued, no matter...
That's just how it looked from the outside. What would any thief want with second-rate? I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my craft.
So, that's the story, huh?
What choice do I have? So be it. I've enjoyed power and...
Very well. Traveler, Paimon, keep an eye on Lorenzo.
Lily has told me the whole story. Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of Caesar?
Look who's... What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it. Because...
Looks like it's all over. What should we do next, Lenny? Should we...
Let me think. Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first. With Lorenzo and
Good point! We should go tell Gemma the good news right away!
This coffee smells as good as ever. Ah, you're back. You were so quick. I've only just finished.
Your third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this. Everything...
It's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the
That's besides the point.
Point.
Did everything go okay?
Of course! Lorenzo was no match for us. The guards are taking him into...
Gosh, that's amazing. I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but
It's okay. We understand. He did threaten, but you don't need to be scared anymore.
Sorry. I always wanted to report Lorenzo. He took all of Caesar's property, which I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something terrible to me. Thank you all. Truly.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed any signs that they were... and to think that lowlife's been living life to the fullest all this time. At least his soul can finally rest in peace now. Thanks to your
If only I'd realized.
Don't blame yourself, Gemma. This isn't your fault.
Yeah, you still have the rest of your life to live. Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the Opera House tomorrow evening. Would you like to... This show will be a special one. We're holding it in Caesar's...
In Caesar's honor. Thank you. I'll be there.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Traveler, Paimon.
Don't worry, we'll be there. No way are we gonna miss out on a free map. Wait, Paimon feels like we're forgetting something. Oh yeah, Caesar's diary! We never found...
this time. My brother's going solo today, so I'll be watching with you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody... The great magician Linny has prepared a spectacular show for us all tonight.
Wow!
Thank you all so much for coming. Now,
Exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yes, it's just...
No wonder. Caesar was a fix, so how did you two first meet, Gemma?
Well, I was out on the street. Children love magic because they're willing to believe in things that can't be rationally explained. And somehow, I felt drawn.
Aw, that sounds so romantic.
It was with a flower. He took it. I was so happy.
Oh, that's so cute.
Is that right? Then I suppose, after all, you never know when the people...
That's right. It's all over. Paimon doesn't really know how to comfort you, but...
Right. Yes, you can breathe easy now.
See? Even Lynette says... Wait, what? The Phantom Weasel? Lorenzo escaped? Where is he?
What do you mean?
As Linny once said, a performer's job is to commit fully to their role and put on a flawless performance for them. But once the bag of tricks is empty and the curtain falls, it's time to end the show. The spotlight is no... It's been 10 years, Gemma. Aren't you tired of the grieving widow act?
What are you talking about? Traveler, Paimon doesn't like where this is going.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope there will now be a brief intermission, after which Linny will perform the most electrifying... The final performance will take place outside of the Opera House, so please make your way outside...
The Phantom Weasel never did like public places, did they? Don't worry, this place will be quiet soon.
dear me, this is awkward, isn't it? And unfortunately, I'm all out of gadgets, so I'm afraid I can't. This is a big mistake for a magician to make. But thankfully, I do have a backup plan.
Linny, don't we have more? Lynette accused Gemma of being the real Phantom Weasel a moment ago.
All in good time. Magicians are good at guessing what people are thinking. I know...
Really? Well then, let's hear...
Let's go back to the very beginning. A decade ago, when the Phantom Weasel was terrorizing the court of Fontaine, she never missed... But as her infamy grew, so did the readiness of the police, and her opportunities to act became... Of course, she could not simply take this lying down, and before long she found... After weighing her options, she set her sights on a renowned magician, Caesar.
So then what?
Being the master deceiver she was, the weasel easily earned Caesar's trust. Now all that remained was to frame him for her... But as she was considering how to make her move, she noticed Caesar's aggrieved pupil, and a new thought entered her mind. At her encouragement, Lorenzo tampered with Caesar's magic box, causing him to fall to his death. Afterwards, Lorenzo seized his master's property, and the weasel set about tarnishing Caesar's reputation. Two co-conspirators committed the perfect crime.
I've got to hand it to you. You're both exceptional storytellers. But I just have one question. You seem to think that I am the villain in this tale.
Don't worry, Lorenzo said nothing at all. But I never believed that he was the weasel, and in fact, my investigation only made me more certain of that. He was too forthcoming.
How disappointing. So you'd sooner trust Lorenzo than me? Even without a shred of evidence?
A magician is an expert at playing the audience to get the result they want. And I have no doubt that, with a little help from Lorenzo, you put on a very convincing performance. The lovesick fiancé. Caesar was maligned and hated by all for 10 years, but you? Who would suspect for 1 second that the lovely young lady always seen weeping in front of Caesar's grave was—
Wait, so you mean the whole intimidation thing was just a hoax? But why would Lorenzo agree to that? And why didn't he sell her out even at the end instead of admitting to be—
Yes, why indeed? Maybe Gemma herself could enlighten us on that question.
Well, Linny, if you're so confident in your having killed Caesar with his own hands, Lorenzo was plagued by overwhelming guilt. Revealing the Phantom Weasel's true identity would serve no purpose. But—
An excellent answer.
Is that right? Well, don't let—
As a matter of fact, there's one thing Why would the real Weasel have targeted things that only have value to other people? Could you shed any light on—
Of course. After all, if I had to guess, I would say that left to fend for herself after her parents died young. Betrayed. Scorned. She'd scrounge waste paper from garbage bins to draw on, using twigs and dirt for lack of ink and pen. This was her only source of happiness in life. But it was all she needed. And once again, she was betrayed. And this time, everything was taken from— This was a fate too cruel for anyone to bear. Her pain became— I detest the happiness of others. I will rob them of everything they hold to be good and true. And it will—
That's some pretty heavy stuff.
Now it all—
Does this story satisfy you, Linny?
Yes, it is quite to my tastes. Thank you for helping to clear up my confusion.
Huh. That's right. What drove— Because without that, none of this would have ever come to light.
She didn't write the letter.
After 10 long years, I'd hoped that the Phantom Weasel— Linny. Or should I call you the Phantom Copycat now? You were the one who posted—
Very sharp, Phantom Weasel. Still as shrewd as ever. Well, no need for me to be coy about it. Our goal was to— The most straightforward way to change the public's impression of Caesar was to force the Weasel to show themselves.
That's it? You had no other agenda?
Of course we did. We made it quite clear in the letter, I believe. I shall take from you that—
10 years ago? You mean Caesar's death? Wait. Oh, I get it. You were those two obnoxious kids. He taught you magic back then, didn't he? For what, 10 days or something?
We remember all our debts, however great or small. 10 years ago, Caesar's reputation was torn to shreds and his legacy was thrown out. But we did not forget. And so we came to find—
And? What exactly did you take from me? I'm still—
Free? Do you Caesar once told me that even though the world is filled with lies and falsehoods, we must— I think that applies to you too. Truth can take many forms. Prized possessions with Life took many things from you, and those wounds never healed. When they ached unbearably in the—
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that for the last 10 years, you've been living a rather uneventful life. Perhaps that's because you found something other than a life of crime. Back to Lorenzo for a second. He murdered his own master, played along with you. He knew who you were and the things you'd done, and despite that, he was willing to give everything up for your— You're more than just accomplices in murder. You're the only real friends each other has. But that truth is gone now. And I guarantee—
Congratulations on your freedom, Gemma.
Your freedom will cost you dearly. From now on, you'll be all alone in a world full of lies.
Gather round, one and all. The time has now come for the amazing Linny to perform his final act. I'm sure you're all wondering what he has planned for the grand finale. Well,
A high-altitude escape?
I'm sure you all remember the magician Caesar. This was the very trick that led to him. But we have now learned that Caesar was wrongly accused, and that the real weasel
Guess that's my cue to leave. Whew. I've been practicing the Traveler, Paimon. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. There may be a lot of people watching tonight, but you alone.
Lenny, wait. You two hid a lot from Caesar. He went to his grave without ever knowing your secrets. So what about now? You don't have to tell lies to end up isolated and alone. One day, you'll end—
You're wrong. I'm nothing like you.
So,
Like Linny said, when you're ready, let's head outside and watch the
but what about Gemma?
She'll figure out what's best for her soon enough. Oh, and if you'd like to see—
All right. Well, let's go and watch.
Magic should be mysterious, surprising, and defy logic. Magic is hard work. Every single movement has to be practiced thousands of times.
It's all right. We're used to that.
We're sorry. You've taught us so much, but we can't tell you the whole truth.
It's okay. Do you still remember what I told you? This world is full of lies and falsehoods. I only hope that one day you can find your own truth.
What about you? Have you found your truth?
Magic is my truth. I want to perform a magic trick so great that people will always think of me when they talk about it. For a magician, what greater honor could there be?
Look! Behold! Linny is sealed inside the box. Will he manage to escape? 10 years ago, Caesar attempted this very trick, and it was at this precise moment that...
Watch out!
Mysterious. Surprising. And logic-defying. Isn't that right? This honor belongs to you, Caesar. I'm just sorry it's a little late.
Did you see that? 1 minute he was falling, and the next...
How could he possibly have done that?
How mysterious. I didn't blink once. He just
vanished. What a heart-stopping magic show! This was really worth it. Caesar's name has finally been cleared, and Fontaine's new star magician Linny has fulfilled a wish on it.
Looks like everyone really loved Linny's grand finale. Paimon doesn't see Linny anywhere. Where'd he... Oh, Lynette said he'd be waiting for us at the usual hunt. But, oh, you mean the one where he... Yeah, that's probably it. This whole magic show kinda seemed like Linny... Alright, let's go look for him there. Are you alright? Paimon was scared to death when the chain broke. Paimon was sure something had gone horribly...
Magic is a performance art. A magician has to get creative to keep the audience on tenterhook. I was honestly a little nervous during the live performance. The thought of falling, suddenly feeling weight... Sometimes, I can't help but wonder what Caesar thought in those final moments. Did he regret taking Gemma and Lorenzo on? Or... did he believe...
You know, Paimon's been wanting to ask you about something ever since we were in Caesar's workshop. You learned magic from Caesar once, didn't you?
After I joined the House of the Hearth. To be honest, Lynette and I had an agenda. I told you about my past before, remember? As a young boy, I survived by secretly learning magic from street performers. I'd watch their tricks and try to figure out how they were done, but I quickly realized that observation alone could only get me so far. What I saw was the polished final performance, but the rigorous training they put in behind the scenes. I needed to learn how to improve my sleight of hand, hone my misdirection skills, and make niftier We were gifted enough that we'd made some progress by ourselves, but without proper guidance from a professional
So that's why you sought Caesar out?
Yes. We figured there was no harm in asking, but it took us by surprise that he was... In all, we only spent 10 short days together, but he was very good to us. For instance, when he asked why I wanted to learn magic, But in truth, there was already a lot more to the story by then. After being taken in by an aristocrat, what amazed me was how the lie escaped my lips even as I was hesitating. Trust is a beautiful thing. Sadly,
Linny...
Still worried about the way I feel? But don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the House of the Hearth, after Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. The next we heard of him was that night. I remembered his smile. To keep secrets is to put up walls. The longer you keep them up, the less you let people in. Then you only realize how much someone really meant to you when you lose them completely. That's why I was so confident this would hurt Gemma.
Yeah, cheer up, Linny. We've had to say our fair share of goodbyes during our journey, too. But delicious food, fun toys, and the Traveler by my side. Paimon just, you know, Traveler, doesn't that kinda make you Paimon's truth?
Exactly. It's the same for me and Lynette. We are the truest thing each other has in the... Life has taken plenty from us, like it did from Gemma. But at least it left us with each other. That's why the darkness never consumed me, and why it never will. Maybe we live in the All right. Time to lighten this conversation up a little.
It was amazing! Paimon just wishes we hadn't been so distracted with, Linny.
Whoa, that's a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are decidedly
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something.
Oh, all right then. Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand. We ain't going along with this.
Huh? My goodness, you're right. but I could have sworn I brought one here with me.
3, 2...
Now, have another look around. Maybe the flowers appeared some...
Really? Let's see. Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a different flower from the last time. But more importantly, Paimon has to know how the trick is...
Well, if you want to learn magic, you'll have to start by a...
Fine.
Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you. Namely, the student of magic...
Is that it?
Ah, look at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my show. I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, fine. See ya. Shall we head back down too? Oh, Paimon can't wait to read the Steambird tomorrow. Paimon, let's head to the Steambird's offices tomorrow morning and see what...
I'm very sorry, Charlotte, but my sister and I...
Oh, please, Linny, I'll only take a moment of your time.
Huh? What's happening here?
I spent all night writing my piece about the Phantom Weasel, but just as dawn broke, I suddenly received news.
That was quick.
Too late, bro.
That was quick, you say? Aha! My instincts did not lead me astray. You do have something to hide.
Maybe watching my high-altitude escape trick reminded her of a better time with Caesar, and she could know...
Huh. Okay, then. Wait.
Well...
Oh, I remember now. You and Gemma were nowhere... Quickfire question! Where did you all go after the show?
Oh, we went to the cemetery and Linny did a private magic trick just for us. Actually, glad you mentioned it, because that reminds Paimon. Guess
What? I don't recall ever having received a rainbow rose from you myself. Is this supposed to mean that...
No, I just...
What now? Oh, this is getting pretty awkward.
Seems like this interview wasn't meant to be. Well, never mind. Forgive my persistence, but when there's explosive news waiting to be found, I can't turn away. Then apparently one of the things she said to the guards was that her final wish is to... All right, I guess I'll leave you to continue the rest of your conversation in peace.
Lynette? Paimon...
Don't worry, I wasn't angry.
Oh, really?
Phew. You and me both, Paimon. You and me both.
Please, take good care of that rainbow rose. I'd be really upset if you lost it.